Good morning. My name is David Moore, M-O-O-R-E. I am the Public Information Officer for the Larimer County Sheriff's Office and the spokesman for the Northern Colorado Shooting Task Force. I want to thank everyone for being here today to help us share this new and very important information with the citizens of Northern Colorado. We know you understand how important these investigations are, and the task force will not release any information that could potentially jeopardize those investigations. To that end, we will not take any questions today. I would like to introduce the folks here on the stage today. Loveland Police Department Deputy Chief Eric Stewart, District Attorney Cliff Riedel, Assistant District Attorney Mitch Murray, Assistant Special Agent in Charge Russ Humphrey with the FBI, Larimer County Sheriff Justin Smith, Windsor Police Chief Rick Klimick, Larimer County Sheriff's Office Captain Bob Coleman, he is also the task force commander, and FBI Supervisory Special Agent Todd Sandstead, who is the task force assistant commander. At this time, I would like to ask Captain Coleman to come up and read his statement.
Good morning.
Sorry.
Want me to wait?
If you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. As reported yesterday, on March 13th at 1 p.m., task force investigators arrested Christopher David Parker, a 35-year-old male Loveland resident, for the murder of Mr. William Cano and the attempted murder of a male motorcyclist who escaped injury when he was shot at approximately 15 minutes prior to the death of Mr. Cano on June 3rd, 2015. Mr. Parker was taken into custody without incident at the intersection of Hans Peak Drive and East Eisenhower Boulevard in Loveland, Colorado. From there, Mr. Parker was subsequently transported to the Larimer County Jail. This arrest is a result of an extensive 2-year, 8-month investigation that pursued over 5,000 leads, cleared 12 persons of interest, and followed up on over 14,000 pickup trucks in Larimer and surrounding counties. These types of major cases require immense dedication, commitment, and tenacity. This arrest could not have taken place without the support from the Larimer County District Attorney's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Loveland Police Department, the Windsor Police Department, the Weld County Sheriff's Office, Fort Collins Police Services, the Greeley Police Department, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the Northern Colorado Regional Lab, and surrounding law enforcement agencies in Boulder County, Wyoming, and Nebraska. I also want to thank Chief Tyser and his command staff for their support, and the support from all the CEOs, past and present, for having faith in this task force. I am very proud and thankful for each and every task force investigator, present and past, who individually worked on these cases from the task force inception on May 29th, 2015. These men and women worked tirelessly and sacrificed their family and private time. There is another partner who has played and will continue to play a vital role, and that is the public and the local citizens affected by these cases. Without their valuable assistance and information, we would not be where we are today. Although this investigation has been wide-reaching and has involved thousands of man-hours, we are not finished. At date, there is no evidence to suggest, nor is there any information to believe, that Mr. Parker is responsible for the April 22nd, 2015 shooting of Ms. Corey Romero, or the May 18th, 2015 shooting and the murder of Mr. John Jacoby. To date, there is also no information or evidence that Mr. Parker is responsible for the September 13th, 2015 shooting of an unoccupied school in North Loveland, or the shooting of the second-floor window at on-duty employees that occurred at Banner Health Hospital in Fort Collins, Colorado that same evening. All four of these cases remain open and unsolved. We need the public's help once again to solve these remaining cases. If you called before about the cases that I have just mentioned, please call again. If you were thinking about calling before about these cases, please call now. I'll be turning the rest of the briefing over to Special Agent FBI Todd Sandstedt, the Task Force Assistant Commander.
Thank you, Bob. As Captain Coleman mentioned, our investigation continues. Standing here and sitting here beside me, you see the agencies that have supported this investigation from its inception. But we're missing one very important representative, and that is you, the public. You have been tremendous in your support of this investigation, indicated by the number of tips that the task force has received. We're calling on that support again. If you have any information that you believe is pertinent to our investigation, please provide that information. If you have previously called in a tip but still think that information is relevant, please call that information in again. If you have wanted to call us but have been hesitant or think it would be a waste of our time, please call. Nothing is a waste of our time when it comes to these investigations. Again, we could not have done what we have done without you, and we need you again to stay engaged and to help us get to the final conclusion that we all would like. I want to remind the public of the methods available to you to contact the task force. You can call our tip line at 970-498-5595. Again, that's area code 970-498-5595. You can utilize our email address, which is taskforce@larimer.org. Again, that's taskforce@larimer.org. Or you can access the Northern Colorado Shooting Task Force Facebook page. And when you go to that Facebook page, you will see all the information I just gave you. It'll be reprinted on that Facebook page for your use. Has all that contact information that you need, and again, we encourage you to use it. Thank you again to the public for your support, and again to the heads of these agencies who've stood by us throughout the course of this investigation. David.
Windsor Police Chief Rick Klimick.
Thank you, David. Thank you all for coming. First, I want to thank the task force and all the work they've put into this. And I want to plead to the public out there to please come forward with any information you have reference to the Jacoby homicide. The Jacoby family is wanting answers. They deserve answers, and Johnny deserves closure for what took place to him. Thank you. Please call.
Larimer County Sheriff Justin Smith.
Thank you, David. I just want to conclude with a few remarks to wrap things up. First is to remind you, in April of 2015, when Corey Romero was shot at, we knew relatively quickly that we had what appeared to be a random shooter on the loose in Larimer County. By May of 2015, when John Jacoby was shot, it appeared we had a serial shooter in the area. We put the task force together because we realized the power of these agencies together working with the public was much more powerful than any of us working alone. We remained true to that commitment. Our first objective as these shootings occurred, number one, was to stop the shootings. In a relatively short time period, we were able to achieve that objective as we had no other shootings after the summer of 2015. The next objectives were solving each and every one of these cases for each and every victim and their families. Today marks a very important point for us in that, working with the public and all these agencies, we were able to bring charges against an individual that the evidence brought us to in the murder of Mr. Knoll and the other attempted shooting that occurred within the city limits of Loveland. However, this is only a turning point for us. These investigators, working with our prosecutor, now have the job of presenting this case not in the court of public opinion, but in the court of law. And that is what they're moving forward with on this specific case. And there's a lot of wheels turning behind the scenes, making sure that happens. What I want to assure the public and the Jacoby family and the Romero family is that we remain just as committed to working with the public and as a task force to bringing the rest of these cases to conclusion. Our next objective is to stand on the footsteps of the Windsor Police Department at some point in the future and deliver the same kind of news that we've been able to solve that homicide as well. I understand that each and every one of you have many questions. I understand you're asking to get those answered. Our job was to gather evidence, to follow that evidence and see where it took us. Once we came together with a case that is going to be filed by the Larimer County District Attorney's Office, our job was to put that together for the district attorney and his staff to follow that through to a prosecution, because our ultimate goal is to find what justice we can for the victims. And the best way to do that is put this case together and move it into a court of law. So while you have these questions, I know you're very anxious to ask them. The best thing we can do for the Knoll family and the other victims and their families is to work diligently behind the scenes to continue to put cases together and continue to present this evidence to the district attorney. I appreciate every member of the media who has also helped us in getting this news out to the public, helping to carry this plea. You've heard it many times over this morning, and I ask you to help us with that so that, again, we can meet you in Windsor at a time in the future and make another announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. A press release and a booking photo of Parker will be available for you at the back of the room. Thank you for being here today, and we thank you for your continued support of the Northern Colorado Shooting Task Force.
I have the press release and the photo here if you want.
Hey, thank you, gentlemen, very much. Thank you.
Is everybody ready?
So you just have to do it one time and we won't bother you.
Okay.
Thank you. Is everybody ready?
And can you give us your name and spell both your names first off?
Mary, M-A-R-Y, Knoll, C-O-N-N-O-L-E. I'd like to thank the task force, every single member of the task force that has worked so diligently to get this case to this point. And I think the important thing for me and my brother and sister and family is to keep in mind that this case is now going to the courts, or is now in the next step. This gentleman is a suspect, and we need to let the system continue to do its job, and to keep in mind the Jacobys and all the victims that have been affected by these murders, including this guy's mother. And keep everyone who has been touched by all of this in your prayers, and let's hope that, and pray that we'll continue to find more information and bring justice for the Jacobys and the rest of the
Mary,
victims.
could you tell, over the last 3 years, was there any point that you lost hope that somebody would be found?
You know, people ask me this all the time, and no, because the task force has been so incredible. And I have just believed that they would find this guy. And let's hope that this guy that they found is the guy. And I think that the integrity of this investigation has been so tremendous that I still am very hopeful that justice is being done.
What was it like
Mary, you've
being-
come a long way. You and your family came a long way to be here today, you were saying. Why is that? Why did you come all the way that you come? And what answers are you still in need of, perhaps?
Can you maybe just talk about what today means to you, sitting here listening and hearing that someone, I know, is a suspect, but that someone has been caught in his death? What does that mean to you?
It means that the justice system is working, and that we have some pretty incredible people working in Larimer County.
And about your brother, I mean, it's been 3 years. Remind us who he was and who he still...
He was just a guy walking down the street. He was my older brother. He was a father. He was a grandfather. He was like your brother. That's all.
Thank you, Mary.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.